Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to change the way the world eats. My name is Shurina. I'm a certified nutritionist, health, nutrition, productivity coach. I help people just like you guys to learn how to use nutrition as a precise tool to improve absolutely everything in our lives, from our health to our fitness to our mental performance. And this week we are definitely talking about mental performance. We are talking about ingredients of neurochemical cocktail of flow state. And basically what it means is to deliver our best work consistently, to deliver outstanding work, something that feels like, we tapped into some genius and got it out from the universe, that beautiful idea that wanted to exist. Now we need to get into this optimal mental state that more often than not called flow state or the zone. And to get there are certain chemicals that can be present in the brain. And we can improve our chances to get those chemicals produced by consuming certain foods and substances. Today, we're not talking about food, for example. We are talking about a substance. Yesterday, we talked about the ingredient number 1 for our neurochemical breakfast cocktail of flow state. And by the way, guys, you can do it any time of the day when you need to be your most productive. But I just recommend to start early. That's why breakfast, you can do it any time of the day. But especially when we talk about this second ingredient, it's better to do early in the day so you don't interrupt your sleep cycle, and that could be detrimental to mental performance, right? Before food, before anything, if you don't sleep well on a regular basis, forget about your peak performance. Not gonna happen for anyone. There is no exception. If you don't sleep well, you're not going to be delivering your best work. End of story, guys. And now back to our second ingredient of the neurochemical cocktail of flow state. The second ingredient is caffeine, guys. Well, actually, the second ingredient is norepinephrine. That's a fancy word for adrenaline in the brain. So when adrenaline is produced in the brain, not by the adrenal glands, then we call it, scientists call it, neuroscientists call it norepinephrine. And what norepinephrine does in our brain is it keeps us alert, awake. Obviously, to do your best work, you can't be sleepy. You need to be alert, awake, and focused. It kind of turns up our anxiety and stress level to put us a little bit on the edge, to make sure that we understand that what we are doing is important. It also helps the brain to dedicate more resources, more fuel, more nutrients towards completing or working on this task. And caffeine helps the body to release more, to make more of this norepinephrine or adrenaline in the brain. But with caffeine, you gotta be careful. Just actually with almost any food. You eat too much and you're gonna be sleepy and not wanting to do anything instead of alert, focused, and ready to go. It's with anything in the body. There is almost with everything. The more is not better. Better is the golden middle. And so with caffeine, it's somewhere between 50 milligrams to 400 milligrams tops. That's his absolute top. For most people, 400 milligrams of caffeine, that, by the way, you get in Starbucks Venti, the biggest Starbucks drink. That's what you get. You get a horse dose of caffeine. And for most people, it means a lot more anxiety, a lot more stress, and a lot less productive, meaningful work done. So you want to use caffeine as a helper to get yourself a little bit more to the edge, especially if you're like myself, chill person. If I don't drink coffee, I'm ready to meditate the whole day, right? So I need a little bit more of a boost. But if I drink 400 milligrams of caffeine, I'm going to be all over the place and not being able to do anything really. I'm just going to be jumping from one thing to the other and never being able to complete anything. If I want to give myself ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, then I would go for Starbucks Venti. I'm sensitive to caffeine, right? I need a little bit of boost, but not too much. So for me, what is really useful, and that's what's actually ideal for most people, there are different types of neurochemical imbalances in the brain. So it might not be applicable to you. But for most people, this what works. What works is about an espresso shot amount of caffeine. That's about 80 milligrams of caffeine. And again, that's what you're going to get in one espresso shot. You can also, when you go to Starbucks, you can ask them just one espresso shot. And if you want a bigger drink, like for example, you want, as I usually do, a medium coffee, medium Americano, I ask them for only one espresso shot, because in that drink, they usually add 2, and that's double the amount. And for me, it's already too much. And for most people too. Again, you want to increase your anxiety, your stress just enough to make your brain pay attention to the hand and to the task at hand. And also, you want to increase, especially if you do your work first thing in the morning, you want to ramp up a little bit your alertness and awake and the state of being awake, but not too much, not so you're anxious, jittery, and sometimes for people it also makes them fearful, not confident, they have really bad anxiety levels. So you want to be alert, awake, and focused. And that's what a little bit of caffeine, like an espresso shot of caffeine, will do for you. And combining that with all the other ingredients, ingredient number 1 we talked yesterday, we're going to talk about 3 more ingredients on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so stay tuned for that. But when you combine this espresso shot to ramp up your noradrenaline production with all the 4 other ingredients, you're going to be feeling really good, and you're going to give yourself a really good chance of hitting that flow state consistently. And that's it for today, guys. That's what I wanted to share with you. Ingredient number 2 of neurochemical cocktail of flow is norepinephrine, or adrenaline in the brain. And there is substance. Coffee is, by the way, one of the best ways, not caffeine drink, not energy drink. The reason being is coffee also has a good, really great, it's rich in antioxidant, like one of the richest antioxidant sources in anyone's diet. So, and those antioxidants protect the brain from possible damage from all the free radicals generated because of rich, abundant electrical activity happening in the brain all the time. Plus, there are other, substances in coffee, in naturally brewed coffee that make it more beneficial and more balanced approach to consuming your caffeine compared to, let's say, energy drinks or a caffeine tablet or some caffeine supplement, right? So drink your coffee. Yes. Also, no earlier than 90 minutes after you wake up. The reason being, there are hormones, specific hormone, cortisol, that is released to wake you up. And when you put caffeine on top of that, first of all, you're not going to get additional benefits because cortisol is much more stronger than the effect that caffeine will ever produce. And then the second thing, after cortisol goes down, the hormone that also stress hormone that is designed, I don't know if it's designed, but it is produced by our body to wake us up. So when that goes down after those about 90 minutes and your caffeine also effect going to go down, then that's when you're gonna experience crash. Plus, it can compromise cortisol production and your sleep-wake cycle. So no earlier than 90 minutes after you wake up. In the morning, recommended 12 hours before going to bed. Finish your caffeine consumption and go to decaf. So that's when you want to consume your caffeine, and maybe a couple of espressos or, added espressos to whatever drink you choose. It can be really beneficial to get you into flow zone consistently to deliver your most outstanding work that changes the world around you and wows people. That's it for today, guys. Share this episode with another friend, person who you admire or who you wish really well. Share this episode with them so they could also deliver their best work, especially if they're mission driven, if they have a vision, they need this. So share this episode so they could also learn ingredient number 2 for the neurochemical cocktail of flow. And of course, stay tuned for the last 3 ingredients. We covered just 2. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're going to cover the rest of them. And most of them you'll really love because they taste amazing and eating is pleasurable. So we love food, we love eating it, we love talking about it, right? Stay tuned. Thank you for listening. Please do share. That's the things that's going to melt my heart the most. And till next time, eat better daily. And if you drink your caffeine, go for 1 espresso shot.